Hello, my name is Nairi and I've been sharing my trigeminal neuralgia story. So my first video was about 2 weeks ago where I did a long video about my story, which was everything that I'd gone through really up for the last 6 months. So I say 6 months, it's about 5 months since I first had problems and pain around the face. And if you want to pick up on my story, I'll put the link there for you where there's a lot of detail there, a lot of information. So today's kind of a catch-up video. It's always difficult to sit in front of a camera, I think, when you've got something like this, a chronic pain condition, in this case trigeminal neuralgia, and to share your story. It's very hard to do that. It's not something that I think anybody would really enjoy doing, but I felt that there were a few developments that I could share with you today. So one of the things that I think is a real problem with trigeminal neuralgia is the lack of information and knowledge around it. And as I mentioned in my previous video, that brings a lot of isolation and despair. And I want to sort of say to you how I'm doing now. And I want to say that I'm no expert on this. I've only been going for 5 months. And these are just my personal experiences, and I think you will find that everybody's story, everybody's journey will be different. So if what I say to you is not that relatable, it doesn't mean to say that you don't have it. It doesn't mean to say that you're wrong in any way. I've just found that when I did relate my story, a number of people said to me, this does mirror my experience. And so I feel like because I helped maybe, well, certainly more than one or two actually, by hearing my story, that is worth sharing with you as I'm going along. So today I am partly through a flare-up. So I'm not great, I'm not in the middle of it. So my flare-up really was yesterday evening, and into the night I woke up with pain, which was quite unusual for me. And the reason for that was because I'd had a birthday celebration that had kind of gone over a few days where I'd done a few more things. So we went out for a meal, we went for a short walk. I have been talking to more people and doing more things. And I remember watching a lady, I think she's from Purple Cottage Crafts or something like that, mentioning that she had had family around and celebrated, and therefore the following day she was in bed. And that is kind of my experience. I'm up and about, but I was really worried that I was going to be in bed all day, and we have family coming around this evening to kind of finish the celebrations, and I was worried we were going to have to cancel it. So a flare-up for me is not necessarily typical. It can be, it can have like TN1 type of things in there, but often it'll be atypical. So what's happened is I've gradually had more pain building up down here, and then stabbing pains in my ear, and I've had a little bit up here, but not as much as I normally get, so mainly under here. And yesterday I felt it coming on, and this is the issue that I find. I felt it coming on. I was due to meet a friend, so I had a tablet and I hoped that I was going to be okay. As we were together, I could feel that it was getting worse, and she wanted to continue on around this garden centre where we were, and because she's my friend and I love being with her, I wanted to do that too. By the time I got home, I could kind of barely really hold a conversation with my husband, and I just had to flop on the bed, and I just felt really upset because I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And the thing about that was I knew really that I was in for a flare-up, and then that went on all evening, and as I say, into the night, and I woke up with some pain this morning. So whereas I'd had a good few days, I was on top of the world. It was almost like I didn't have it. Back to a flare-up, and that's the roller coaster ride of it. You can be all right one day, and then another day you're not all right, and this is something that's really hard to live with and get used to. So I say that the whole road of trigeminal for me has been like a roller coaster wave, a bumpy road. And I think from the shock of having it, having the pain, the realization there's something wrong with you, you get confusion, you get grief, you get denial, and you can get very depressed. And I'm going to be really honest with you, I've had 2 big meltdowns where I've been really bad, and one was targeted at my husband, where I just went out of control, and yeah, it wasn't his fault, but I just lost it completely and just felt like I didn't want to carry on. I didn't want to stay with the family. I didn't walk away, but that's how I felt, and there's a lot of anger there. And the second one was about, say, 5-6 days ago, where my son, who, we've got a couple of challenging children that are adopted, and my son was kind of targeting me for attention, and I just was in a lot of pain and I couldn't do it, and I'd reached that point where I couldn't do it, and I had a real meltdown after that, where I just felt like I couldn't carry on. I didn't know how I was going to carry on. And you know, I've got a faith, and you'll find a lot of people in the trigeminal community do have a faith in God and do look to God for healing. And I have a lovely sort of passage that I'm going to read out in a minute, that I've had some authorization from the person who posted it on Facebook, which talks about depression and talks about turning to God. So later on, if you're not into that and you're not a Christian, or you don't have any faith in God, then you can kind of switch off when we get there. But for a lot of us, I just think it's important to say here and now that as a Christian, it's okay to get depressed. It's okay to get depressed anyway with this illness, because you have a lot of confusion about how you feel. You have to reinvent yourself. It's really hard to do that. I'm 52 years old and I'm reinventing myself as someone who probably can't take the ultimate decisions and responsibilities for family, because I'm often not well enough to do that. And to leave my husband to do that is really tough for me. I have 7 children, 5 are grown up, and these 2 adopted sons, and a motherhood, or shall we say nurturing, caring, is so much who I am. And sometimes I can't do that, and sometimes people have to do that for me, and I find that really hard. And so I think the second meltdown, I reached rock bottom. I think I did. But who knows? There could be another rock bottom. And people on the forums are saying that you get this happening. You get these real dips where you kind of feel really, really low. And I felt more of a relief after that had happened to me. And I felt very vulnerable, quite shaky for a few days. But I did manage to pick myself back up. And I actually had quite a few good days after that. So depression, I think, is one of those things to look out for. I'm not afraid to go to the doctor to get help anyway if I need it. I've had to do that way back in my past, so I'm not afraid to go on medication for depression. I'm not afraid to go and get medical help. I believe that God uses medics as well for our healing, and that can be a way of healing. So I'll wait and see. But at the moment, I think I'm okay. I think my husband is working out the pattern that I'm going through, beginning to see some things that are happening to me, and he's probably my catch-all net at the moment as to making sure that I'm okay. But yeah, I haven't really had real meltdowns like that for a long time in my life, and I've gone through a lot in my life. I'm not one of these people who's had a plain, easy sailing life. I've had a lot that's happened to me, so it was quite a shock to think that trigeminal neuralgia could bring me that low, but it has. And I'm sharing my story to help anyone who's feeling like that, that's feeling that low, that they feel they can't carry on. And in the forums, you see this said a lot. You see a lot of people who are saying this, and you have a lot of people who come on the forums and say, you know, pray about it. You're not alone. We're here for you. And the forums are very, very, very supportive in that way. So there will be people that are always worse off or better off than you, I guess. But I guess your journey and my journey will be varied, very, very varied. So I think the thing that brought that second meltdown on when I reflected was a letter that I'd had for my referral. So again, go back to my previous video and you'll see the journey that I've had for the professionals that I've met up with and how I've come to my diagnosis. and how I've now come to this referral. So the last professional I saw was in maxillofacial, which is how I was referred from my dentist, and he was the sort of third professional I'd seen. And so he was very, very comforting. He was very knowledgeable, and he basically said to me, yes, this is what you have, this is what you're living with, and we need to get you, see, I'm touching this now because it's hurting, so this video won't go on much longer. This is what you need, no, this is what you have, and you're going to need to go to a neurology or a neurosurgeon, and you're going to need to go under pain management because this could get worse. So he was very comforting. It was the first time that someone outright had really said that, yes, this is what you're living with, so that was hard. But then this letter came. Now, this letter doesn't tell me anything different from what I know already, but it was the way it was written that somehow got to me. It got me down. I know that MRIs often don't show anything, so I know that that doesn't mean I don't have it in any way. But this is the letter that I had, and it just got to me. Maybe that's because I'm vulnerable, I don't know. So it was addressed to my dentist, dear Mrs. blah blah blah. Further to previous correspondence, I've seen Mrs. regarding her MRI scan, which was requested for her pain on the left side of her face and then he's put question mark, of trigeminal neuralgia. The MRI scan has come back as normal with no evidence of nerve compression. At today's appointment, Nairi, which is my name, complains that she is managing well with carbamazepine, which was prescribed by yourself. For long-term management, I would recommend Nairi to be referred to neurology team for further assessment and management, and I plan to review her in 6 months' time. I've advised Nairi to contact her GP regularly for a blood test. It was just the way the letter was written, the way that he said, Nairi complains that she's managing well on carbamazepine. It just was such a negative way to put it. And I know what it means. It means that the carbamazepine is working. So basically we're leaving her on it. I know that, and I know sometimes there's cultural differences and language differences, so I get it, but it got me down. I don't know why it got me down. I think it got me down because there is no evidence there, but I know that sometimes there isn't. So yeah, the way that was written, and I think that brought on this second meltdown of just feeling this horrible feeling of kind of like, you have something, but often there's no evidence of it, and so many people seem to not know a lot about it, and you feel so isolated, and I just think that's what brings on a depression, big style. And so that was the letter. So I'm waiting for neurology. But also what came out of that as well is I'm on these 3 tablets a day, 200 times 3. So that's it. I'm on them. They seem to be working well most of the time, apart from, as I say now. And, well, that's it. And for some reason, my GP, I've had 2 blood tests now. The first one was like they were worried about me, but it wasn't my GP that organised it, it was the hospital. My GP had said, no, we don't need one. Then I've had a second one, and I've been told it's borderline, but it's better, but we don't want to test you anymore. So I'm just left with lots of unanswered questions again that nobody can tell me the answers to. I feel like I need to fight my corner a little bit, but I don't feel well enough to do that. And I don't know anybody around me who knows enough to do that. I'm in the UK. I think there's probably not as much information for me as it might be if I was in the USA, although I don't know. So I feel like I'm probably going to have to go back to my doctor when I'm strong enough and say, well, why don't you want to organise when my next blood test is going to be? And I feel like I probably need to go back to my dentist, original dentist, and discuss with her basically what's happening, maybe. And I don't know how long I'm going to wait for neurology, and I might see these people maxillofacial in between. So like, that's hundreds of questions for me. And when you're not feeling very well, all you want to do is live your life every day and make the most of it. So one of my other videos that I'm going to do at some point will be the types of things that I found are helping me, just the type of activities, which I'm sure if you already have this or you've had it for a while, you're beginning to find out for yourself, but I just thought it might help, the types of stuff that I've got into that I think is kind of like therapy for me and really, really helps me. So if you're not into the Christian aspect, feel free to click off now. This was the thing that I have for you that was on the Trigeminal neuralgia and face pain forum, and this is how it says: prayer to heal from depression. Dear God, lately everything around me seems to fall apart and I don't know what to do. It feels like I'm drowning and I can't scream help because I don't want to let the water in. So I feel helpless, hopeless and scared. Sometimes it feels like I can't keep going. Other times it feels like I don't want to keep going. Sometimes I just feel numb, and other times I feel so sad within and my soul weeps. So God, I've come to you. Save me, for I am drowning. Lift me out of this depression. Fill my heart with gladness. Shine your light on me, God. Give me strength, give me hope, give me joy, give me peace, give me confidence, give me courage. Let me feel your love and your presence in my life. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And that's called the graceful chapter. And I thank the lady who let me share that with you. I can't put it any better myself. I think even if you don't have a faith, it's the prayer that's going to be within you that you can't say any better than that. So guys, I hope that you have found this helpful. As I say, this is my journey. It might not be yours, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we're not experiencing the same thing. What matters is we both have trigeminal neuralgia, or we're on the pathway for diagnosis, or we think we have it, but that's all that matters, is that we experience pain day in, day out, and confusion. So if you find it helpful, please subscribe, because then you'll be able to see when I bring out videos, but press the notification bell, because YouTube is a massive platform, as I'm sure you realise. And I'll see when I feel like it's right to update you. I won't make a video if I don't have anything, but maybe the next one will be the types of stuff that I'm using as hobbies and help. Thank you. Bye-bye.